We do this with talking points, and you can do this all over the world with the talking point I'm going to give you. This isn't up there because this is a gift. Someone attached to Bob came up with this, and this is just pointing out the obvious. I will give you a real scenario. I was at a I don't know, let's say it was a function of some type, and at that function, uh, there was everyone was talking about what they're always talking about, right? Politics, what have you. Half the people there will love Obama, half the people there will hate him. There seems to be not an in between, depending on what type of crowd you're in. I was asked what I thought. As usual, people that know me take a deep breath. I stated the obvious. I tried out a new talking point. I said, well, you know, Africans have 50 plus countries on the planet. They have half the world's natural resources. Africans have the largest population the world has ever seen, and Africans have the greatest piece of farmland the world has ever known, Africa. They live with us as a minority, and we are a minority. There's not much more I could do for them other than make you president. Jaws dropped. You would have thought I just hit him with a landmine. I just hung a landmine from one of the light fixtures above. You would have thought I just let loose grenades. There is no response to that. That's devastating. When Lone Ranger was talking and Lone Rangers were yapping about Obama, I just leveled them to the ground. I pointed out the obvious. I didn't say anything nasty. There's no epithets in there, but it's way more violent than the N-word. The N-word is a waste of time. It doesn't do anything for me. Epitaphs don't do anything. Doing what I just did consistently is ruthless. It's way more violent than knives. If John McCain was in there, I couldn't do that. With Obama in there, I can own the show. Someone piped up and said, well, in your opinion, that's racist. You're just saying that because I'm white. Anti-racism is a code word for anti-white. Well, well, sure it is. No one's flooding Mexico with non-Mexicans and giving them affirmative action, special rights and privileges and free health care. No one's flooding Africa with non-Africans and giving them affirmative action, special rights and privileges and free health care. No one's flooding Asia with non-Asians and giving them affirmative action, special rights and privileges and free health care. Only white countries are doing this. Only white leaders are doing this, and only self-hating white animals like you think this is wonderful. It's genocide. Well, it's not racist. In your opinion, it's racist. You're just saying that because I'm white. It's a nana. It doesn't have anything to do with the economy? Sure it does. China right now is 91% Chinese, according to the CIA. America in 1965 was 89% European. America tried to become non-European. The 1965 Immigration Act did that. America tried to become non-European. America's collapsed. America's $100 trillion in debt. America's not coming back because of that. If China tried to make itself non-Chinese, what do you think would happen? What do you think would happen to their manufacturing? I did that briefly. I just did what I just did right there. It all rolls together. All these talking points roll together. Well, there's a race problem. Well, of course there's a race problem. Everyone says there's a race problem. There's a race problem. That race problem is going to be solved when white countries, and only white countries, flood themselves with non-Europeans and give them special rights and privileges and integrate, assimilate, and breed themselves out of existence. Your definition of race problem, the solution to race problem is simply genocide under international law. They're a social construct. There are no social constructs under international law. Just ask Saddam Hussein. You see, I'm giving you many different directions to go with that, but that's a real life scenario. I did that. Generally speaking, when you lay a landmine like that, they're going to get off the subject pretty quickly. That's a humiliation technique. I humiliated them. You see, they can't exist anymore. I just basically their whole entire life flashed in front of them. They just realized that everything they've done for these people, nothing's worked. They have to support them forever. It's just devastating emotionally. It's devastating for people. That's your job. It moves him out of the way. Anything that shuts him down and shuts his mouth and lets us speak for ourselves is fine because we have power. Lone Ranger can have power because he's white. Obama cannot have power. No, he doesn't have any power. Who would have power in the White House? Who are they afraid of? Well, who's the female rabbit at the latent position? Hillary. Sure. We told Hillary to give that talking point. Yeah. Some people attached to us told us. So, step up and tell Obama, you have 50 plus countries on the planet. Africans have 50 plus countries on the planet. Africans have half the world's natural resources. Africans have the largest population the world has ever seen. And you have the greatest piece of farmland the world has ever known. You live with us as a minority. We are a minority. There's not much more we can do for you. Making you president is a waste of time. She could have slammed him. She could have slammed him to the ground. She could have taken all the male Republican votes and won. She could do anything she wants to. She could do that tomorrow morning and throw him out. He has no recourse. He has no recourse. He has no real power. Where's he going to go? So if he's there for a tool to someone else because he cannot have power under natural law. That's all I'll say about the situation. You need to understand that. Power given isn't just that. He knows that. The worst time I've ever had in this world was dealing with a woman that adopted non-European babies, a John McCain, a female version, a Lone Ranger S. They are dangerous. They're mentally unstable. The best time I ever had in this planet, the easiest time I ever had, was with the mulatto. They deep down inside know way more about race than a John McCain ever could hope to. It's tragic. They're tragic, but they're not bad people. Obama's probably not a bad. He was flaky, whatever, dicey. He's not even. But he's, you would assume he's owned. He's owned. He's not owned by who you think he's owned. He's owned though. But that's the way this works. Yeah, you lost your country. Okay, whatever. You can't do anything about that. Use it to your advantage. But you can annihilate Lone Ranger. You can kill him verbally. What I did was way more violent than anything you ever thought of doing. It was more violent than pounding them in the dirt. Sure it is. Because it's more devastating. If you were to hit him, he'd go and sue you and he'd forget about it and think he did nothing wrong. I just did something they will never forget in their lives. In fact, 2 days later, someone there just couldn't believe that. The jaws were dropped. That was the most devastating thing they'd ever seen. But that's what we do. That's what we get paid to do. It's practical politics. It's non-voting politics. Those are power plays verbally. The velvet techniques cannot be protected against. You cannot protect against that. You cannot protect against someone like Putin when he comes to power under a Cayenne Pokemon. That's how he came to power. That's what I call it. I'm going to explain that to you in the next tape. It's cool stuff, but you cannot stop velvet techniques. You cannot stop it. It is not illegal, but it's more feared than Tim McVeigh. Tim McVeigh can only strengthen the system at a certain point in time. You never know when that when it may work for him, but I'm just giving you an example. I'm giving you a game you can play right now, tomorrow morning, right now, walking into your store, right now, walking into your work. You may have to be careful saying it, but I don't think there's no country you can't say that in. There's nothing illegal about what you're saying. It's not nice. It gives them fits because it is geared. You see how perfectly that's geared? You can say that in Britain. You can say that in Russia. You can say that anywhere. It's not illegal. It is more ruthless. It is violent. It is a tearjerker. It's a showstopper.